Can you see the screen?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, so we finished the diode-based rectifier that is used for conversion of AC to DC. The next is the controlled rectifier, where we can use the controlled devices to build a rectifier. So this chapter will be on thyristor-based rectifier, and as you know that in case of thyristor, the conduction can be the conduction happens only when this anode is positive with respect to cathode, and you provide a gate pulse. So once it is plus and minus, and you have a gate pulse, the thyristor will conduct. And once it has started conducting, then whether you remove the gate pulse, that will not affect, and the thyristor will keep on conducting. Now, when the thyristor will be turned off, when this is become negative and this become positive. So when the inverse voltage is applied across the thyristor, it turned off. Okay. So let us see what we are going to do here. Is a half wave controlled rectifier. It is all what we have done with the diode rectifier. The same thing we will repeat with thyristor rectifier. Okay, so half wave, full wave, then three phase bridge, full controlled. Then we can have three phase semi controlled, or maybe I will give you this for you to build. So let us see how the thyristor rectifier works. So you see that in the case of diode based rectifier, the output is fixed once the load and the source are fixed. You know that the diode is uncontrolled device. So as soon as you are giving positive to the anode and negative to cathode, this is plus and minus, then it starts conducting. There is no control on the conduction. But in controlled rectifier, the average output voltage and the current can be controlled by controlling the firing or triggering angle. So the average voltage, that is the output DC voltage, in case of controlled rectifier, can be controlled by means of the triggering angle. So at what angle you trigger the thyristor, depending on that, we can control the output voltage and current. That means this is called controlled rectifier, because the output can be controlled by means of controlling the firing angle. That means the instant at which the gate drive is applied. So that's the instant is called alpha, and that's the triggering angle. So if you keep alpha is equal to 0, then it is like you keep on applying the constant pulse in the gate right from the beginning. Then this behaves as a diode. This behaves as a diode. But once you make alpha is equal to some other degree, say for example 10 degree, 20 degree, 30 degree, then in that case the output will be different. The average output will be different. So that is the main purpose of using control rectifier, is to control the output voltage depending upon your requirement. So for SCR to conduct, the following two conditions are to be met. The SCR must be forward biased. That means the anode to cathode voltage must be positive, and you provide a gate signal or triggering or a firing pulse should be applied to the gate. Now, conduction of SCR is delayed until a gate current is applied, which is the basis for using the SCR as a means of control. Once the SCR is conducting, the gate current can be removed and the SCR still remains in the conduction state. Okay. So if we look at the half wave rectifier with this SCR based half wave rectifier, now here you apply a AC and we will get a DC at the output. So you see, this is the source voltage. This is the source voltage, sine wave. Now we measure the alpha is equal to 0 the instant of applying the gate pulse from here. At this instant, if you apply, then I call it alpha is equal to 0. Now if you apply gate pulse at this instant, this is alpha is equal to 90 degree. Okay, because you know that this is 0 degree, this is 90 degree, this is 180 degree, this is 270 degree, and this is 360 degree. This is one cycle. This is one cycle. So any delay in the application of the gate signal will affect the output voltage. Okay. So if we apply, say, gate signal at some angle, this is, say, some angle here, say alpha. So what will happen that when the gate pulse was not there, then this behaves as open circuit. There is nothing, no output. So the output is zero. Output is zero. But as soon as you apply the gate signal, the thyristor will start conducting. So when it start conducting, then what will be the output voltage? So whatever is the input voltage, the same will come across the load. The same voltage will come across the load. So that means this will be my load voltage. This is my load voltage. But what will happen to the next cycle? Now, since you are from here to here, you are applying negative voltage. And so in the negative voltage, you know that the thyristor will be turned off. So you will not get anything from here to here. And then again, this is the delay angle. In the next cycle, same delay angle. So this is how you get the output. Now, if you compare the diode based and the thyristor based, so what was the diode based? In the diode based, how you get the output voltage? The output voltage is uncontrolled. You get like this. You get like this. But here you get different shape. You get like this.
Doctor?
Yes.
Doctor, will you please repeat explaining the graph?
I am still explaining. You see, when it is a diode, what is the output voltage? How the output voltage looks like? The output voltage will be, the diode will start turning on here, it will turn off here, it will turn on here, turn off here. So when the diode is on from here to here, you will get the same as when the diode is on. What is the voltage across the load? Voltage across the load is the same as the load voltage, is same as your source voltage when the diode is on. Okay, so you get like this. And when diode is off, you'll get zero. Now, for the thyristor based rectifier, we apply gate signal at some delay angle or firing angle is applied at, say, alpha, at an angle alpha. So this is my delay angle or my firing angle or triggering angle. So from here to here, since we have not applied any gate pulse, so the thyristor is off. So we do not get anything. As soon as we apply the gate signal, the thyristor start conducting, and what we get is this voltage, the source voltage we get across the load. So this is my load voltage, this green, like this. And then from here to here, still it remains zero. And then again, it will start at some angle alpha. So this will start at an angle alpha in the next cycle also. Now, if you compare the average voltage of this and the average voltage of this, which one will be higher?
Can you repeat the question?
Okay, before going to the question, do you understand this waveform?
Yes, I understand this waveform.
Now, the average voltage, if I compare the average voltage of this waveform and this waveform, which one will be higher, diode or thyristor?
Thyristor.
Thyristor will be low because you see you are getting only this much portion of the output
Yes.
voltage. But here you
But
are getting full
it's
portion.
less time, doctor, right?
Huh?
The average is the values over the time, but here we have less conducting time, so
Yes,
we're only
yes. So the less voltage will be in the case of thyristor based. So that means, but here you see in the diode base, you do not have any control. Whatever is your average, what is the average voltage is Vm by pi or 2 Vm by pi or Vm by pi. Let me check. Yeah, Vm by 2 pi. Vm by, no, in the half wave, it is Vm by pi. Yes, for half wave, it is Vm by pi. Okay. This is your fixed value. This is fixed value. But here, you see, the average voltage can change. And if you trigger it earlier, if you trigger here, then you will get this much output. This will be your output. If you trigger here, you get this much output. So you can change the triggering angle and you can get different output. This is what is control rectifier. Understand?
Yes.
Now,
Doctor,
what is the... Yes.
in comparing the average value of voltage between the diodes and thyristor, we need the average value to be high or low? And
No,
why?
it depends. Like, if you want low voltage, if you want to run your motor at low speed, you want to give it low voltage. You don't want to give it high voltage. So you want to reduce the voltage. So when you want to reduce the voltage, you increase the value of alpha. You increase alpha. If you want to generate low voltage, you just increase alpha. If you want to generate high voltage, decrease alpha. What is the minimum value of alpha? Alpha could be minimum 0. When you put alpha is equal to 0, it just behaves like a diode rectifier. It just behaves like a diode rectifier. So when you have alpha is equal to 30 degree, when you have alpha is equal to 60 degree, it will behave as a control rectifier. So you will have different average output voltage. You will have different output voltage. This depends upon your application. Suppose you have a LED light here, and you want to dim the light. So you want to apply reduced voltage. So you want to apply reduced voltage, you increase alpha. Suppose this is a DC motor, a DC fan or DC load. You want to decrease the speed, you just increase alpha. So the output voltage here will be reduced and you get lower speed. So this means that you have a control over the voltage. You have the control over the voltage. But in the diode base, you do not have control. It is fixed Vm by pi. This depends upon what is the peak value of your source voltage and then divide by pi. That is your output voltage DC average. But here you will have different voltage. Understand?
Yes, doctor, understand.
Doctor,
Now, yes.
what is the max value of alpha I can have?
Yeah. You see, from here, if you make alpha is equal to 180 degree, then your output will be 0. All. Yes. If you make from here, you start alpha counting from here, it is 0, and here alpha is equal to 180.
Yes.
So the range is from 0 to 180.
Oh, okay.
Now, but how you generate this, firing pulse? The firing pulse, when you generate this gate pulse that you generate, that should be synchronized with your this signal. It should be synchronized with this signal, because you have to exactly calculate at what point my alpha is equal to 0. At what point is my alpha is equal to 30 degrees? That should be the same as your source voltage. So in the gate control, you have to synchronize your gate signal with the AC source, so that you measure exactly where is the alpha is equal to 30 degree or 20 degree or 15 degree. Okay. Now let us see what is the voltage across the SCR when it is operating and when it is not operating. Tell me, what is the voltage across the SCR when it is on? When this is on, What is the voltage?
0.
It is 0. What happens when it is off?
Full source voltage.
Full source voltage in the reverse direction. So what you get? Okay, not reverse direction. It could be any direction. But when it is off, circuit is like this. So here is your positive, and here is your negative. So, and if this is negative and positive, the same will also appear. So whatever is the source voltage, the same will appear across SCR. The same will appear across SCR. Yes, same will appear across SCR when it is off. And when it is on, it will be 0. So from here to here, this is the period when it is on. So this is on at this time. So when it is on, then when it is on, the voltage is 0. And what happens when it is off? The same as the source voltage. So same as the source voltage. Do you understand this?
Yes,
Yes.
doctor.
Now let us do this mathematical calculation. So the total period is 2 pi. So it is 1 by 2 pi, and integration should be from alpha to pi. In the case of diode, it was 0 to pi. In case of thyristor based, it is alpha to pi. And this is your source voltage, d omega. So this is what is your average. Yes, this is your voltage. So I have to integrate from alpha. Up to 2 pi. That's the period. So when you integrate this, you get this. Vm upon 2 pi into 1 plus cos alpha. So now you see, when you put alpha is equal to 0, it is diode based rectifier. What will be this value? Will be simply Vm by pi. Got it? What will be the value when alpha is equal to 30 degree? Or let us see alpha is equal to 60 degree. When it is 60 degree, then this is half. So it is Vm by 2 pi, 1 plus half. So Vm by 2 pi is equal to 3 by 2. Yes. So this is 3 Vm by 4 pi. So you can control this average output voltage by just controlling alpha. Okay. And RMS value, same, 1 by 2 pi, and no, this should be alpha. Alpha to 2 pi V square d omega t. So when you do this, you get this as the integration. And what is the power loss? Is V square by R, or I square by R. I square into R, or V square by R. V square RMS. So now this is the problem. Design a circuit to produce an average voltage of 40 volt across a 100 ohm load from a 120 volt RMS 60 hertz AC source, and determine the power absorbed by the resistance and the power factor. So what we have to find out, the angle we have to So we have to design a circuit to produce an average voltage of 40 volt. So your source is 120. But across the load, you want 40 volt. So how you can get this? You can get this 40 volt even if you add a impedance here or a resistance here. If you add a resistance here, some voltage will be dropped here, and you can choose the value of resistance so that your required voltage is dropped here. But this if you add any resistance, this will add to cost, because it is power loss will be there, and efficiency will be dropped. So I don't want this. What we will do instead, we'll use a thyristor based rectifier for this. We use a thyristor based rectifier. So we have AC source, we use a thyristor, and this is my load. Now, for this, average output voltage is given as 40 volt. Average output voltage is given as 40 volt. So okay, average voltage is given as 40 volt. So yes, what should be the firing angle so that we get 40 volt? So average voltage is given as Vm by 2 pi 1 plus cos alpha. This is how you get. From here, you know this as 40 volt. You know this as 120 into root 2. And I have to calculate alpha. So the alpha that you calculate is 61.2 degree. So at 61.2 degree, if you use alpha, then you will be able to get 40 volt. Understand? Now, this is 40 volt that you are getting is from the thyristor based rectifier. But what if you would have used diode based rectifier? If you would have diode based rectifier, this would have been 54 volt. But you don't want 54, you want 40. So you use thyristor based and you find what is the angle alpha. So this part is done. Next, you have to find out the power absorbed. So to power absorbed, you have to find out Vrms square by R. So to get Vrms, there is also formula for Vrms. This is the formula for Vrms. So use this formula to get Vrms voltage, and from there you calculate the power loss. And then power factor is P upon S. So P upon S, you get 0.63. Understand?
Yes, doctor.
Now, let us see the same half wave rectifier with RL load. What will happen if it is RL load? Okay. So as you know, in case of if you have inductor, the current cannot be dropped to zero suddenly. It takes some time for the current to drop to zero. Okay. So even if your voltage is zero, that there will be some current that will flow through the inductor. So here, this is the source voltage. And say you trigger SCR at an angle alpha. If you trigger at an angle alpha, say you trigger here at this point. You trigger. Then once you trigger, the will be on, current starts flowing. So you can write the equation Vs is equal to IR plus L di by dt. This equation will be valid in this case now. IR is your voltage drop across resistance, and L di by dt is voltage drop across inductor. Okay. So di by dt, rate of change of current, will be equal to Vs minus IR upon L. So, or just leave L here. So L di by dt is equal to Vs minus IR. So the
Doctor, you will not consider the V thyristor?
no, this is we are just assuming ideal, okay. You are assuming ideal. So now you see when Vs is greater than IR, voltage across resistance, your LdI by dt is positive. That is, the voltage across inductor is positive. Voltage across inductor is positive, and the current rises because this is di by dt is positive. So rate of change of current is positive. So that means current is increasing. Whenever you have Vs is equal to VR, both equal, then LdI by dt will be 0. That means the situation where the current reaches maximum. This is a situation when current reaches, this reaches maximum. Current reaches maximum. Current reaches maximum. And when Vs become less than VR, LdI by dt is negative and current falls. Current falls. So this is all the steps. So you see here, this is your IR, that is voltage drop across resistance. So at this point, what happened? Your source voltage is equal to your resistive voltage drop. So the current will reach maximum at this point, and then it will start falling. So if you draw the current waveform, it will be like this. Current will start rising from here to here, and once the Vs is equal to VR, it reaches peak, and now after this point, your Vs is lower than VR. So the current falls. It will not go to 0 at this point because of inductor effect. It reaches 0 at some point beta. So this beta we call extinction angle. Extinction angle. That means the angle at which current is 0, at which current becomes 0. That's the angle. Okay. So when you look at the voltage output, how the output voltage looks like. So okay, this is your voltage across resistance. This is your voltage across inductance. Actually, this should be properly scaled. This should come here. It becomes 0 and then become negative. It become negative. Voltage inductor become negative here. LdI by dt. Okay. Then the average voltage. The voltage waveform. Let me draw the voltage waveform. How the voltage waveform, output voltage waveform look like? It is not drawn here. Let me draw. So it will look like this. It will look like this. Okay. This is how the output voltage is. So there will be some negative portion in the output voltage. What you see, there is some negative portion. So this negative portion will what? It will cause a overall reduction in the average voltage. This will cause reduction in the average voltage. Okay. So this is RL. Now look for the equations. So the current I draw like this. So the current will have the forced plus natural response. The forced response is Vm by Z into sine omega t minus theta. Why it is like this? Because Vm sine theta is your voltage. Vm sine theta is your voltage. So when you divide this by impedance, that will give you current, but it will have some phase shift also, depending upon the value of R and L. So theta is tan inverse omega L by R. So this is your current under a steady state condition like this. But this is your natural response, the transient condition, which is exponentially decaying. Then to find the constant A, we use the initial condition I alpha is equal to 0. And when you put here alpha in place of omega t, place omega t is equal to alpha, then you put this is equal to 0, you solve this, you get this as your value of A. And this A is equal to alpha upon omega t. This is A. Now you put this back here. So this is your overall current response. This overall current response. And this current response is between alpha to beta. Why? Because from alpha, the current has started, and at beta, current will drop to 0. So it is the period when the current is flowing, and this is the period when the thyristor is on. So this is I omega t. Now how to calculate beta? So at beta, this current will be 0. At beta, current becomes 0. So you put I beta is equal to 0, and you put in place of omega t is equal to beta. Put omega t is equal to beta. You get this expression. Okay. So this is the, now you have to solve this equation by using numerical method to get the value of beta. Now beta minus alpha is defined as the conduction angle. Beta minus alpha is defined as conduction angle. You see,
Doctor?
this is beta, this is beta, this is alpha. So between beta to alpha, your thyristor is conducting. So that is why it is called conduction angle. Yes.
Doctor, for finding the alpha, alpha and A are both variables. How we will solve it using one equation?
No. This is alpha is the angle that depends upon how much average voltage we need. Okay, so this alpha can be 10 degree, 30 degree, 20 degree. So alpha will be calculated upon depending upon how much average voltage you want. Okay, so we'll see the problem, that how we get the alpha.
So
alpha
should be given to find A.
No. Alpha, you have to calculate alpha, then you get A. Now, how you calculate alpha? Alpha depends upon the average voltage. We have not come to that point yet. We are still solving for the current. Okay. So let us see. You see here. We'll come to your question, and when we are solving the problem, you'll see how we get alpha. So the average output DC voltage is what? Average output voltage. Now you see, now it is alpha to beta. What was the limit here in the half wave rectifier with resistive load? It was 2 pi, but with RL load it become alpha to beta. So you get this as your average voltage. So this average voltage, as you said, there are two unknowns, alpha and beta. Okay, we'll see how we'll calculate that. And then the DC current, average load DC current is this. The average absorbed power absorbed by the load, and this is the RMS of the output current. Now let us see how we do the alpha and beta calculation. You see, for the circuit, the source voltage is 120 volt RMS, 60 hertz, RL given, delay angle given here. Okay, alpha is already given 45 degree. Okay, so determine the expression for the current, the average current, and the power absorbed and the power factor. So Vm will be 120 root 2, peak value, impedance is equal to R square omega L square, 25 ohm load impedance. Load angle is tan inverse omega L by R. This is load angle. And this omega tau is equal to omega L by R. Value will be this. Alpha is given as this. Now everything is known. You put in the current equation. So you put in the current equation. So this is the current equation that is valid from alpha to beta. Okay, and the preceding equation where beta is found numerically by setting the equation to 0 and solving for omega t, with the result beta is equal to 3.7. Okay, so now to get the value of beta, what we have to do, you put omega t is equal to beta. And then this current is equal to 0. This omega t is equal to beta. Then we have to solve this equation, 6.78 sine of beta minus 0.646 minus 2.67 e to the power of minus beta by 0.754 is equal to 0. Solve this equation to get the value of beta. Okay, so beta is obtained as this. So what is the conduction angle? Conduction angle is beta minus alpha. So this gives you the conduction angle 172 degree. That means the thyristor is remained on for 172 degree. Okay, do you understand? Any question? Then the average current, just this is I omega t, and this is alpha, this is beta, this is alpha, this is beta, this is RMS value, and then the power factor, power loss. Now next we come to the RLE load. So in the RLE load, when you have a battery here,
Doctor,
then yes,
Doctor, will you please go to the back to the previous slide? The previous one. For the current equation, how did we get the 2.67?
this is A. This is A. And what is A? E to the power of alpha by omega t, omega tau. This is A is equal to e to the power of alpha by omega tau. And this is equal to e to the power of alpha. Alpha is 45 degrees. So the radian value is 0.786, 0.785 divided by omega tau is calculated as 0.754. This is A.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Okay. So now when you have RLE load, then you see for RLE load, you know that this is your source voltage, and say this is your DC voltage, VDC, this VDC. Then you see you cannot operate or turn on your device up to this angle. Only after this angle you can turn on, because this voltage has to be greater than this voltage. So when the source voltage become higher than the anode voltage is higher than the cathode voltage, then only you will be able to turn it on. So when this is your AC signal and this is your DC signal. So you see, if suppose this is a 220 volt and say this is 100 volt. So you cannot turn on the device before this point. You can only turn on after this point. You know, understand this point?
Yes.
Yes, doctor.
This we have seen before also. So that means this has to be the value of minimum alpha. You cannot have below than this alpha. You have to have only greater than this alpha. So Vm sine of alpha minimum should be equal to VDC at this point. So alpha minimum you can obtain as VDC by Vm sine inverse. So this is the formula. Okay. Now it is everything is like, same as the previous. The only thing is that you have this alpha minimum constraint. So this is your steady state current. This is the transient current, but you have also this term because of the DC voltage. Okay, and then we find the value of A like this, and then the problem. The controlled half wave rectifier has an input voltage of 120 volts, 60 hertz, R this, L this, VDC this. Delay angle 45 degree. Determine the expression for the current. So Vm will be 169, Z will be 7.8, theta will be equal to tan inverse omega L by R, and then omega tau is equal to omega L by R. It is 3.77. Angle alpha is given as 0.785. Now, first we have to determine if alpha 45 is allowed or not. If alpha is allowed or not. So we have to check what is alpha minimum. So alpha minimum is 36 degree from sine inverse V DC upon Vm. From here we get 36 degrees. So 36 has to be minimum. You cannot have 30 degree in this case, but it is given 45 degree. That is fine. We can use 45, okay, but we cannot use 30 degree, okay. So now you substitute everything in the current equation. You get this as your current equation, and then you solve this for beta is equal to 0 for beta value, and then you get the limit alpha beta. Then you find the RMS. From there you find the power loss, and this is the average current. This is the power absorbed by the battery. Okay, clear?
Yes.
Now let us see full wave rectifier. So in the how to reduce this size? Okay. So again, you have two versions. One is called the center tapped, another is called the bridge rectifier. Okay. So this is center tapped, this is bridge rectifier. So in center tapped full wave control rectifier, S1 is on when your Vs is greater than 0, means this is your plus and minus, this is your minus and plus. Okay. And S2 is off when this is negative. Is the same thing. Gate signal is required for S1 and S2 to turn on. That's the only additional requirement for the this thyristor base. You need gate signal also. Okay. And the delay angle is the angle interval between the forward biasing of SCR and the gate signal application. So how long you take to apply the gate signal, that is your delay angle or alpha angle. When your alpha is equal to 0, it behaves as a diode rectifier. Okay. Now let us see how the output voltage will look like. So if you draw the source voltage is this. This is your Vs. Now at angle alpha, suppose you apply the pulse. So you apply alpha to S1. Negative half cycle you provide alpha to S2. So in the positive half cycle, S1 will operate and you will get this as your output. Okay, from here to here. And then in the negative half cycle, what will happen? This is your S1 is on here. And in the negative half cycle here, S2 is on. So when you make S2 on, you will get this voltage, because the source voltage is like this. One is your positive voltage, another is your negative voltage. So positive voltage is like this. In the negative voltage, you will get like this. So this is your output. This is your output. Means in both cycles, same as diode rectifier. So now what is the average voltage? Average voltage is from alpha to pi. Now the period is pi. Before it was period was 2 pi. So now it is alpha to pi. So it becomes Vm. So it becomes double the half wave. Vm by pi 1 plus cos alpha. And this is the RMS value. This is the power loss. Okay. So the problem, the full wave control bridge rectifier has an AC input of 120 volt RMS at 60 hertz and a 20 ohm load resistor. The delay angle is 40 degree. Determine the average current in the load, the power absorbed by the load, and the source volt ampere. So what is the average voltage output? Average voltage is Vm upon 1 plus cos alpha. Alpha is already given, so you can calculate output average voltage. Average load current will be V naught by R. And RMS current. So RMS current is, we have seen this before. It is like, RMS is like this. Vm by R half minus alpha by 2 pi. Remember this alpha, you have to put radian. Okay, you have to put radian value in. Okay, not degree value. Degree is 40 degree. So you have to convert this 40 degree to radian and then you put here. Understand? How you convert a degree to radian? You know how this degree to radian, how you convert? Tell me.
Divide.
Divide by?
Divide by 180 and multiply by pi.
And multiplied by pi.
Oh.
Yes. So 40 divided by 180 multiplied by pi. That gives you radian. Okay. Similarly, inside here also, one is alpha is radian, everything will be radian. Okay. Put here also radian. Okay. So this is power loss, and then this is RMS, VRMS, IRMS give you the volt ampere. So this gives you the power factor. Okay. Now, RL load. So this was the resistive load. Resistive load is simple. You cannot have negative voltage across the load. It will be 0. But as you know, in the case of inductive RL load, you can have negative cycle also, negative part also in the average voltage. So there are two modes in RL. One is called continuous current mode. Another is called discontinuous current mode. Now, what is the meaning of continuous current and what is the meaning of discontinuous current? Continuous current means current will all the time will be here. Okay, current will always be like this. Discontinuous means what? You will have like current and then you will have not current for some time, then you will have current. Okay, so if you have this kind of current waveform, this is called discontinuous. This is called discontinuous. Now, if you have a situation where your current is like this, it is touching 0. Okay, it is touching 0, and continuous current is like this, it is not touching 0. But discontinuous, you have for some finite period of time, it remains 0, then it is called discontinuous. But what about this situation when it just touches 0 and goes up? This is called boundary condition. This is called boundary condition between continuous and discontinuous. Okay, this is called boundary. Do you understand this point? Do you understand what I mean to say? What is the boundary condition, what is discontinuous, and what is continuous?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay. We will see that we will have the discontinuous mode and also we will have continuous mode. We have to also find out what is the boundary condition. What should be the value of inductance, so that above this inductance value it goes for continuous and below this inductor value it goes for discontinuous. If you have inductor value is very low, then it will have some discontinuity. The current will remain because it will behave mostly like resistive load. Okay, but if you have like high inductance, then it will have always continuous current. And if you have very high inductance, the current is like pure DC. There is no ripple. So the ripple is reduced if your inductance is very high. But if your inductance is low, it will behave like a resistive load and then there will be some discontinuity. Okay, so Let us see. So now in the discontinuous current mode, at this point, this is about the bridge converter. I did not tell you about the bridge converter. Okay. So in the bridge converter, let me tell you about the bridge converter. You see, this is called upper, this is called upper, this is called lower, this is called lower. So this is upper group, this is lower group. Okay. So in case of bridge rectifier, there will be two thyristors that will operate at one time, two SCR on at one time. One from the positive group and one from the negative group. Here in the center tap, you have only one thyristor working at one time. Only one thyristor, or one SCR works. But here, two works at one time. Now, how it works? It works like this. S1 and S2 work like together, and S3, S4 work together. Okay. So when S1 and S2 work together, what will happen? You see, when S1 is on and S2 is on, so current flows like this. And when S3 and S4 is on, this will be negative and this will be positive. Then this will be on and this will be on. So current will flow like this. So what you see that the current reverses in the source side. Source side, current reverses. Current reverses. And two thyristor works at one time. Okay, this is the bridge configuration. So say at alpha, you trigger S1 and S2, and then at pi plus alpha, you trigger S3 and S4. Okay, you trigger like this. But what happens due to discontinuity, the current goes to zero at beta, then it remains zero for some time, and then once again it starts flowing from alpha 2. Then it will start flowing from pi plus alpha. This is called discontinuity. Okay, and how the output voltage will look like? Output voltage will be same as your source voltage. At pi, it will further go negative, as we have discussed earlier, because of RL load. It goes negative, and then from here to here it is zero, and then again it will follow. So you will have some negative portion in it, and the current will be like this. This is the current. This is called discontinuous conduction mode. It's called discontinuous conduction mode. I have uploaded the simulation file for you. You can run the simulation file in different conditions, and then you can look into the behavior. Okay, you will see the same waveforms that we are discussing here in the theory. Okay, so do you understand this waveform? Do you want me to explain this further? Okay.
So can you just explain the wave operation in terms of like which thyristor is turned on and which thyristor is turned off and how they relate on the graph?
Okay. You see, this is my bridge rectifier. This is my bridge rectifier. Okay. This is thyristor 1. This is thyristor 2. This is thyristor 3. This is thyristor 4. Okay. Now what happens when you give plus here and minus here? Then this thyristor is forward biased.
Yes.
This thyristor is reverse bias. Okay. And this thyristor is Yes.
Yes.
S2 will be
Sorry.
conducting.
S2,
Yeah, yeah.
S2 will be also forward bias, right?
Yes. So it will be forward bias. Now you see it is forward bias, but it will not conduct. It will not conduct. When it will conduct? Tell me when it will conduct.
When we
When
apply
you,
the gate pulse.
yes, exactly. When you apply the gate pulse. So at what instant you will apply the gate pulse? The delay that you are doing, this delay is
Alpha.
called alpha.
Yeah.
So at alpha, I will start make this conducting. Now, when this is conducting, this will be on and this will be on. So how the switching will look like? The switching diagram. Switching diagram will look like this. This is my load. This is my S1. And this is my S2. So this is how my switching will look like. You can show this as a dotted. The others which are not operating, you can show them as a dotted. Okay. Like this. So when this is operating S1 and S2, then whatever is your source voltage, that will appear across the load. That will appear across the load. Yes.
Yes, correct.
And in the same way, when you have negative cycle, then this become negative and this become positive. Then what happens? This will be positive, so this will be start conducting and this will start conducting. Yes. So you will have the negative cycle. So this is the waveform. Okay.
Understood. Thank you very much.
Okay. So now, starting the analysis at omega t is equal to 0 with zero load current. SCR, S1 and S2 in the bridge converter will be forward biased. SCR, S3, S4 in the bridge rectifier will be reverse biased when Vs is positive. Gate signals are applied to S1 and S2 at omega t is equal to alpha, turning them on. Then the load voltage Vs, V0 is equal to Vs. The output is same as your input. So what is the current? Current will be is this is the same as the, because this is the Vm upon sine omega t minus theta, then this comes from A, and this comes from A, and Z is this, theta is this, tau is this. Okay, so the load current is 0 at omega t is equal to beta. When beta is less than alpha plus pi, this is called discontinuous mode. You see, your beta, this beta is less than pi plus alpha. That means the extinction angle is low, means it will extinct, the current will extinct, the current will finish before the next pi plus alpha. That means this is the pi plus, what is pi plus alpha? Pi plus alpha is the instant of turning on of S3 and S4. So before S3 and S4 is on, your current becomes 0. That is why it is called discontinuous. But if your current does not become 0, it's like this, then it will be continuous mode. It will be continuous mode. So,
Doctor, we can make
yeah.
it continuous by introducing L to the load.
Yeah. Yes. Higher load, higher inductance will make it continuous. But load is not like you can control. Load is a thing that is uncontrolled. Okay. So we have to, the only thing that we can control is our alpha in all
No.
this. So we have to analyze what will happen if you connect such a load where the inductance is low. So it will work in a discontinuous mode, and that is what we are discussing. Okay. Now, when your beta is equal to alpha plus pi, what is this called? You see, your beta is equal to pi plus alpha. So I told you that your current goes 0, and at the same moment it starts rising. That is called the boundary condition. That is called the boundary condition. Beta is equal to alpha plus pi. This is important. Beta is equal to alpha plus pi. That is your boundary condition. Now, let us solve this problem.
Doctor?
Yes.
I'm sorry, could you please go back to the previous slide where we were? Yes. Is this waveform showing from an, like, not from the not from the beginning, like not from the initial situation, because I see that there is a negative portion in this in the beginning. So shouldn't
Yeah,
it
no, no,
be zero
yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah. This
beginning,
is like
or
in a steady state condition. This is a steady state condition. Already one cycle, two cycle has already passed. Okay,
oh,
one
so
two
this is
cycle has
steady
already
state,
passed.
not
Yeah, once if you start from first one, then of course this will be from like this.
yes, yeah.
Yeah. So now a controlled full wave bridge rectifier has a source of 120 volt with R is equal to this, L is equal to this, and alpha is equal to this. Determine the expression for the load current, the average load current, and the power absorbed. So this is your 120 is your RMS value. No, this is not correct. This is not divide. This should be multiplied by root 2. Okay, make correction. This is 120 into root 2. Okay, not divide by root 2. Then it will give you 169.7 because this is VM is your peak value. This is your peak value. So peak value is VRMS times root 2. So this is 120 times root 2 is equal to 169.7 volt. Okay, and this is your impedance. This is your impedance angle. This is your omega tau, and this is your alpha. Now you put in the directly everything in the expression, you get this. And then we have to solve to get for the beta value. So when you solve this, we get the beta value is equal to 3.78 radian. And since pi plus alpha is 4.9, you see here pi plus alpha is 4.19 and your beta is 3.78. So your beta is less than pi plus alpha. That means your extinction angle, that means the angle at which your current becomes zero. That's called extinction angle. So extinction angle is less than then pi plus alpha. Pi plus alpha is the instant when your next pair of SCR has to be turned on. So this is a discontinuous conduction mode. This is a discontinuous conduction mode. Okay, discontinuous conduction mode. Then the average current, yes.
So if beta minus alpha, which is the induction angle, is less than pi, then we can say that it is in 79.
Yes. But it will be, even it will be less than if you have, you see, because if it is a diode based, then it will be pi. This is pi. But if it is thyristor based, it will be less than pi. Okay, it will be less than pi. It will be less than pi. But I don't know, we don't know, because this is less than situation. It is not equal to. Okay, this is not equal to. So you have to find less than and equal to. You cannot say equal, yeah, as you are saying that if it is equal to, this not equal. You have to respect the inequality. So beta should be pi plus alpha. If beta is equal to pi plus alpha, then this is called boundary condition. This is called boundary condition. Okay. This is continuous conduction mode. So you see here in continuous conduction mode, what happens that at alpha you trigger S1, S2. At pi plus alpha you trigger S3, S4. Then again you trigger S1 and S2 and so on. So what you see that the current is not touching zero. So the current goes until pi plus alpha and then again it rises. So there is a continuous current. There is a continuous current. Okay. And how the voltage will look like? The voltage will look like this. From here to here, S1 is on. So you are getting positive cycle. Everything is on. You are getting positive cycle. Now at this moment, your S3 and S4 is on. So you go to the another, you rectify. Go to the rectifier. So this is your positive cycle. Upper one is positive cycle. Lower one is the negative cycle. So it will follow the positive cycle. It will follow the positive cycle from here to here, and then it will follow the negative cycle. It will follow the negative cycle. Do you understand this? It is, it is simpler in full wave rectifier. You draw like this. source voltage you draw like this. This is your positive, okay? You draw also a negative like this. So it is, you show it like this in the waveform, then it becomes easy for you, because this is you can call it positive, you can call this negative. You see, after pi, your this was your original plus minus, then this become minus, this become plus. So you see, this become plus, the dotted one become plus, and the bold become minus. So when S1, S2 is operating, it will follow the positive. When S3, S4 is operating, it will follow this. It will follow this. So for the continuous conduction mode, the output current at pi plus alpha is greater than 0. At pi plus alpha means at this point when you are turning on the other pair, this is already more than 0. It is not becoming 0. It is more than 0. Then it is called continuous conduction mode. And for current this to be 0, you substitute in the current equation, and when we solve this, we get this as my condition. So alpha should be less than equal to theta. Then we get the continuous conduction mode. Remember this condition. Very important condition, this condition. Okay, what is theta? Tell me, what is theta? It is impedance angle, load impedance angle. Load impedance angle. Load impedance angle. So the load impedance angle should be greater than your triggering angle. Then only you will have continuous conduction. Then only you will have continuous conduction. Okay? And the average output voltage will be alpha to alpha plus pi. Yes? From alpha to alpha plus pi. So alpha to alpha plus pi. So this is your total, and the cycle is pi only, because this is full wave. The cycle is pi. So alpha to alpha plus pi, you get this as your equation for the output voltage, average output voltage. This is average output voltage, means DC. Average output means DC. Now, if you put alpha is equal to 0, you get 2 Vm by pi, same as your diode rectifier. Okay. And now the Fourier of the output voltage, if you this output voltage, the Fourier series, this is your average, and then you have the harmonic components, and this is the Fourier AN and BN, and this is your RMS current, this is your DC current, this is the current ripple, that is AC component of the current. This is AC component of current, AC component of current. Now, this is the graph, and these analytical equations you can simplify by using this graph. This graph is giving you Vn over Vm. That means the normalized value of the output voltage, normalized value of the output AC component of the voltage, Vn. Vn is your harmonic output, harmonic component. So when you put n is equal to 2, means second harmonic, and this is your delay angle alpha. There's a delay angle alpha. It goes like this. Vn increases, it reaches peak at 90 degree alpha, at alpha is equal to 90 degree, and then it decreases. So this is the for second harmonic, this is for fourth harmonic, sixth and eighth. Usually we use only second harmonic for the computation purpose. Okay, we don't use other harmonics. So now we'll solve a problem based on this. It says that a controlled full wave bridge rectifier has a source voltage of 120 volt RMS, 60 Hertz, RL load with R equal to 10, L equal, delay angle is 60 degree. Same as last example, but value of inductor is high. Verify that the load current is continuous. So you have to check whether it is load current is continuous or not. What is the condition for continuous current? Tell me.
The alpha is greater than load.
Alpha should be less than equal to
less than the load.
Yeah, load impedance. So load impedance you calculate 75 degree and your alpha is 60 degree. So that means this is continuous conduction. And then you have to find average component of the current and power. So average current is average voltage over the impedance, the resistance. The average current. Yes, the average current is I naught by R. Yes, V naught by R, average current. So they did not find. Okay. So this is 54 and then divided by 10. This is 5.4. Here, this is your average current. And then determine the power absorbed. So to determine power absorbed, we need to calculate the RMS current. So to calculate RMS current, RMS current RMS current is given is as this. IRMS is this. This is average, and then this is second harmonic, fourth harmonic, and so on. You can use just even one second harmonic, that will be enough. Even if you don't use, that's fine. But here they just show you the calculation for VN, ZN, IN. Okay, and then to calculate this AN, BN, and all that. So this is like little complex because we have this AN formula, BN formula, and all those. So what we can do that we can use the graph. I'm not shown here. We can use the graph to calculate VN. We can use graph also here to calculate VN. Okay, so actually, yeah, yes. So DC value is this. The AC value for second harmonic, it is 129.8. How you get this harmonic voltage VN? You get harmonic voltage. We can use the graph. We can use the graph. We'll see later. In the next problem, they have used the graph. Now, how you calculate VN? VN you calculate like this. You see here, this is VN formula. VN is this. AN square plus BN square under root. And what is AN is this. 2 Vm upon pi cos n plus 1 alpha over n plus 1 minus cos n minus 1 alpha over n minus 1. This is AN, this is BN. So you calculate AN, BN, and then you calculate VN. So you calculate AN, BN, and then you calculate VN. Okay. For second harmonic, fourth and sixth. And this is your impedance. Impedance is simple. Impedance is R plus J N omega L. This is how you calculate. Take the magnitude of this, means under root R square plus N omega L square. So from here you can calculate and then you calculate the harmonic currents, and then you can calculate the RMS current, and from there you calculate the power. Okay, do you understand this?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, so I think I should stop here now, and then now you go to your attendance sheet.
Doctor?
Yes.
For the formulas, are required to memorize them or they will be given?
In the whole engineering course,